Got first pick. Nah, you go first. We'll take the guy mugging that dude. No! We'll take the victim.
Really? He just got stabbed. He's in no condition to play.
Welcome to Last Ones Picked, episode 13. I'm Corey Myers, Mr. Irrelevant. Here with me today, Mike, the microwave, Tijuana.
That's me. How are you doing, Corn Dog?
I'm doing
Mr. Irrelevant?
just great. We have some news about our podcast.
We do.
We are now exclusive with thegruelingtruth.net.
Yep. We're going steady now. Kind of dated around for a little bit.
In a relationship.
We just updated our Facebook
So it's going to be a little less complicated on our tweets and stuff when we're telling you where we're at. We're going to be just on the Grueling Truth Podcast Network.
Yeah.
On their website, gruelingtruth.net, like I said.
They have a lot of good podcasts.
A lot of good podcasts.
A lot of good articles and everything. Really well designed website.
It's a good website. Go on it.
Yeah.
Listen to us first.
Yeah, primarily listen to us.
Just us.
We like the Grueling Truth and everything,
you can
but
listen to the
we're
rest after us.
obviously the most important thing, content that they have. So
The most important. All right. Let's get right into it. The NBA Finals have arrived. Game 1.
oh my goodness. Do we have to talk about game 1?
Game 1. LeBron James scoring 51 points was probably the third most interesting thing to happen in that game.
LeBron had, in my opinion, the best game I've ever seen.
I
don't think I've ever seen a performance like that.
51 points, 8 and 8. He almost had a triple-double, and you still lose. That's got to be just demoralizing for a player.
And it's not like they lost because they were so far inferior. They lost because of one of the most boneheaded plays.
That was the best basketball game I've seen since games 5, 6, and 7 2 years ago. That was the most entertaining basketball game all playoffs, the whole season. It never got higher than 7 points either way, which was great. It wasn't a blowout.
Well, I mean, the Warriors won by 10, so at some point it got higher than 7
for regulation.
points. Oh, okay.
I don't count overtime. That was ridiculous.
Once it went to overtime, I knew the game was over.
Oh, yeah. Momentum was just... But J.R. Smith. Ugh.
Oh, my goodness. Is that the most, in American sports history, is that the biggest blunder? You think of biggest blunder, like Bill Buckner, Game 6?
Pete Carroll throwing the ball.
Yeah. Is that the biggest blunder?
See, I think I'm going to say Pete Carroll throwing the ball when he has Marshawn Lynch, the best running back in the league at that point.
It's a fair point.
Is worse. But at least as a sports decision, JR is probably worse as just like a moronic human.
That is like Chris Webber-esque. And I mean, I hate Chris Webber, so anytime I can bring up his,
even that,
fails.
The timeout's not on the scoreboard. You don't know how many timeouts you have just from the scoreboard.
Yeah, I guess.
But the score is everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's on all the marquees scrolling around. It's on the giant screen up above you. How do you not know what the score is?
That doesn't make any sense to me. I saw some people try to blame LeBron for not telling his teammates what the situation was.
LeBron haters are coming out and they're just saying some ridiculous things. I saw an article, someone put some highlights from J.R. Smith when he first came in the league, jamming on people, and they were like, this is what LeBron does to you. He makes you go from a potential all-star into a spot-up shooter. And I said, hold on. J.R. Smith has never been an all-star. He's only been with LeBron for 4 years.
Yeah.
These people they find the smallest thing and blow it out of proportion.
Mm-hmm. That's what Skip Bayless with
why
the whole water thing.
Why didn't LeBron get the rebound?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
Why did he pass? Why did he make a good basketball playing?
I mean,
pass
something that does make sense is the people that try and deflect the blame off of JR and put it on George Hill because they say if George Hill would have made the free throw, they wouldn't have to worry about that.
George Hill should have made the free throw, but at least he knew the score. I'd rather him miss a free throw.
Yeah,
he made the first one, which tied it up, which is, arguably the most important part because they would have lost without that.
Yeah.
He missed it. He should have made it. He's an 80% free throw shooter.
Yeah.
So that's on George Hill. But
honestly, George Hill going to the line in that situation, I was probably more confident with George Hill than I would have been with LeBron shooting the free throws.
He's about a 10% better free throw shooter than LeBron James is.
All the things LeBron does well, free throw shooting is not one of them.
No. Imagine if he shot 85%.
Oh my goodness.
He would have so many more points.
It'd be incredible. But I was thinking to myself, I think I even said to somebody who I was watching with, I was like, if George Hill makes this free throw, there's still 5 seconds left, 4.7, I think. The Warriors are still going to beat them because the Warriors have 4 people that are going to be able to hit a jump shot. I was still more confident that the Warriors were going to win that game with 5 seconds left and a timeout. They could just run a quick play for Durant, have him hit a pull-up jumper at the elbow. And, I mean, how many times have we seen him do that? Even Curry can shoot from anywhere, so if they have trouble getting it in.
I think Curry hitting a deep three to win the game would have been more demoralizing, almost.
Maybe.
Because at least LeBron can blame the rest of his team.
I don't know, man, because like when George Hill misses that free throw, you're like, oh, okay, now the Warriors don't have to hit the shot, right? You're thinking to yourself the Warriors are going to get the rebound in that like half a second that it took. But when JR rises up to get the rebound, like, oh, the Cavs are going to win. All JR has to do is just throw up a floater or kick it out to a wide open LeBron at the top of the key with 4 seconds left at this point. But no, he just dribbles out the clock. And I don't know what he was thinking. I'm going to absolve JR of some of the blame here because as soon as I see JR dribbling out, I knew pretty quickly that he didn't know what was going on.
I was confused. I was like, I thought they were tied, but maybe they're... Yeah. Did they add like a point from a three-pointer? I don't know what's going on right now.
I mean, if I was one of his teammates, I would have called timeout. If I was Ty Lue, I would have called timeout.
I just don't think they realized like he was being a moron.
But it's J.R. Smith. He is always a moron.
In that like blink of an eye, they were like, oh, he's just looking for space to make a shot. And then you're like, oh, wait, no, he's a moron.
Yeah, but he wasn't even looking to make a play. He was dribbling out and looking towards the opposite end of the court. He wasn't.
I just don't think anyone thought fast enough that he was being a moron.
I don't know.
Because J.R. Smith's a moron, and I know I've called him a moron several times, but I just have to get that into people's heads that he's an idiot and he should never play basketball again.
Well, on to that note, if I hear one more person try to tell me that Ty Lue is a good coach, I'm going to lose it. Ty Lue does a lot of things well. Coaching is not one of them. Okay? If I'm Ty Lue and I'm sitting there and I see...
He's not even a good player manager.
Like, J.R. Smith added nothing to the Cavs. He has added nothing the entire playoffs.
J.R. Smith and Clarkson had what? Probably 35 minutes together.
Yeah, I did.
Not on the floor, but combined minutes. And they added what? 5 points?
No, I think 15 because J.R. had 10 and Clarkson had 5. But... even in his 10 points, he doesn't add defense. You can, Larry Nance can give you 10 points off the bench. Okay, Clarkson can give you 10 points off the bench. You know, George Hill added.
I would have put Rodney Hood in the game. Yeah. Rodney Hood in the game at that point. J.R. Smith is he's not even hitting open threes.
He's not doing anything because he like, on the possession before the George Hill free throws, people forget. J.R. Smith was guarding Curry. Curry literally walked around. He didn't even make a move. He just went right around him. I don't know what he was doing. And then you had the boneheaded Kevin Love play where he fouled him even though they were up 2. There was so much.
Ty Lue letting Kevin Love ever get near guarding Steph Curry.
Kevin Love was their rim protector, I guess. So, I mean.
But at the end of the game, that when Curry hit that 3 towards the end and in the overtime.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd switch off Kevin Love to him.
Well, they have to. Most of the NBA has gone. It's become like a switching league.
Yeah, but then you don't let him switch on to Curry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay.
You fight around that screen and go for Curry anyways.
Kevin Love did a decent job for somebody with his defensive reputation. He actually acquitted himself fairly well, I would say. So, I mean, I'm not going to throw Kevin Love under the bus too much with that.
Did you ever think they were actually going to suspend him?
I did. I was fairly certain that they would.
I was 100% sure they would not.
The NBA is so firm on their, on that suspension rule with coming off the bench during a fight. If you come off the bench, you get suspended. That's been the Knicks this is 20 years ago, but the Knicks in 1999 were going to the finals or there was like game 6 against the Heat and they got into a big fight and Patrick Ewing, our 3 best players, like Patrick Ewing, Charles Oakley, and Allen Houston or John, I don't remember all the people that came off, but our 3 best players came off the bench for a fight, and the NBA, they didn't do anything. They just came off the bench, and the NBA suspended all of them, and we ended up losing because we didn't have our best players. And so the NBA does this thing that the NFL does now, where they just manipulate rules to fit whatever situation they need them to, and it's wrong. If you have a rule, it's a rule for a reason. As much as it would stink to see Kevin Love suspended, and I don't want Kevin Love to be suspended, but what I'm saying is, if the Cavs somehow come back and win, and it starts today, tonight, and they go out and win, and Kevin Love drops 30 points, you don't think there's going to be a severe backlash for them not suspending Kevin Love? According to the rules, he should have been suspended. So
technically. I mean, he was on the court before the whole thing started almost. And the whole court thing, people walk on the court all the time, like... The court lines mean nothing. Coaches run to the middle of the court and
But it was
to
a
call a
fight.
timeout.
If you're on the court,
It's true.
during
He
a
was
fight,
he was on it before the fight started.
So that's their
He kind of
excuse.
stepped on to argue the call, is what I've seen in like some replays.
Yeah.
He was arguing with the ref more than he even cared about
Yeah.
what was going on the court. But I could tell you, there's a 7% viewership, like less than last year's finals in Game 1. And I can tell you right there, they're not going to suspend Kevin
No,
Love.
I mean, I understand why they did it, but it doesn't make it right.
If you already lost 7% of your viewership, and then you take away the 5th best player in that series, you're going to lose even more. Because then everyone's like, oh, well, they're obviously done, so why would I even watch?
The only thing I will say, and then I will kind of wrap up the Kevin Love thing, is that if Kevin Love was already on the court, I'm not exactly sure the wording of the rule, but if the wording says if you come on the court, if you leave the bench to come on the court during a fight, then you'll be suspended. If he was already on the court, then I can see why they had some leeway there, and I'd be more okay with that, even though I still don't agree with it, because then you kind of run into a situation anytime anybody steps on the court for any reason if there's a fight. So I could see why there would be a little bit of leeway there, but I still don't necessarily agree with it.
I also think they didn't suspend him because the whole thing was caused by the refs starting it by throwing Tristan Thompson out for no reason.
Yeah, I'm glad they downgraded
And then they
that because that was messed up.
Then they let Draymond Green just walk around the court
Yeah.
yelling
Tony
at Cavs
Brothers
players
probably
for 5
shouldn't.
minutes.
Tony Brothers probably, I don't know how they rotate the finals refs, but I don't think Tony Brothers should do another game.
No.
I know they kind of rotate them. I think they do 2 or 3 games, but like if he he let the moment get to him more than the other. I mean, he was with Ed Malloy, right? And I don't remember the other ones, the other one, but they're all that crew has given out the most technicals during the season. They're kind of known for being short fused and having short tempers. And I think for the most part in that game, they did a good job. They missed some calls, which, I mean, that's rough, whenever you have a missed call in any game that affects the outcome. But you can deal with human error. I think where you start to have issues is when they check the monitor and they come up with errors still, like on that LeBron charge, because if they're checking to see if he's outside the restricted area, I know the NBA covered for them and they said, oh, well, they couldn't
That's
tell.
kind of like they're out where they said, oh, we were checking to make sure. He was
5 feet
obviously
outside. Yeah, there was no.
So if he was obviously outside, they had no reason to check it.
No.
Because
None.
the only reason they can change that call is if they were checking.
Right.
So if they weren't checking, then there was no reason to look at that call.
And that was a game changer because if Cavs get the ball back, they win that game. There's
And then they come
40 seconds
down
left.
and LeBron James gets his hand smacked and turns the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't call that either.
Yeah.
So that's 4 points right there that they scored.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, game 1. I think
Do the Cavs still have a chance?
no. I think that was their chance
Yeah.
to gain momentum. Mm-hmm. I mean, to steal a game at the Oracle is not easy to do.
Yeah. I don't remember if I said it on the podcast last week or if I just said it when we were talking. But I think the Cavs' only chance was to sneak game 1. And they did everything they were supposed to. I mean, LeBron did everything he was supposed to anyway.
I think tonight's going to be just a terrible game. Because
We'll see. I think tonight will determine whether or not we have a series or not. I think the Warriors will probably win.
And I don't even, as long as it's close, I'd be okay with a sweep. Almost.
Yeah, I agree. I think a sweep I think like 4 close games with the sweep is better than 5 games and 4 of them being blowouts.
I mean, that Spurs, that last year when he was at the Heat and they lost to the Spurs, like that was the most lame series.
To be fair, that series was incredible. I was riveted. I watched
the
every
Spurs.
single game. Well, just because of how that Heat team as it was constructed was the best team in the league by far. I mean, it was what the Warriors are now. Like people looked at them like they couldn't be beaten, and the Spurs just blitzed them.
They shot
It was-
70% throughout the whole game.
Danny Green came out and was hitting
Danny
every
Green
shot.
with Steph Curry.
Yeah, it was
Ridiculous.
it was incredible.
All right. Who do you think is going to get the Finals MVP?
That's tough because I mean, first game, we'll see what happens tonight. If LeBron plays even close to what he did on game 1, he deserves MVP. Now, I don't think he'll get it because
he had 2 years ago he had a 40-point triple-double average.
Yeah, and
didn't win.
they gave it to Iguodala,
for holding him to a 40-point triple-double. Yeah.
So I don't think LeBron really unless they win. I don't think LeBron has a chance.
I don't think the losing team can get an MVP.
Well, the only way I could see it happening, because it's happened before in NBA history. I don't remember the last time, but I know that it's happened. The only way I see LeBron getting it is if Steph went off in game 1. So let's say that game 2, let's say the Warriors win in 4 games, or I don't know, 4. Let's just say 4 games, and LeBron's going to win. Let's say it's Steph in game 1. It's Clay in game 2. It's KD in game 3. And then in game 4, it's kind of like a Draymond joint effort thing. Nobody really has a dominant series. They just kind of dominate as a team. I think LeBron might be able to pull it off if he averages 50 points. I don't think they could really.
He has to average 50 points and still get swept.
Well, he's averaging 51 right now,
And if people are still going to put this loss on him, like,
I know.
It's his fault. You can't score half a team's points and be blamed for the loss.
I don't know. I don't understand. Like, I'm not going to compare LeBron and Jordan right now, but I don't know why people can't just enjoy watching LeBron play.
Yeah, it's just I can't even go on Twitter after games because they're like, oh, LeBron or Jordan would have, Skip Bayless, Jordan would have won that game. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he would.
Yeah.
Jordan never had a team that bad.
One thing I'll say, though, is watching that game, we were kind of texting about it. LeBron was really passive in the first 5 to 7 minutes of the fourth quarter and the last couple minutes of the third that he was in.
I think he was tired.
Really passive. He might have been, but he was really passive.
And he just came off a 7-game series with a 48-minute.
Oh, it's possible. I'm not saying that he wasn't tired, but
he's still. I mean, even being passive, he still had 6 points in the fourth quarter.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They were
he carried him at
momentum
the
changing, bringing down the house dunks on people.
Well, there was a sequence of plays where I was like, I said to you guys, he's being too passive. He needs to be more aggressive. And then the next play, he went and drove.
Just jam on somebody.
Yeah, and that was incredible. I was like, that's perfect. And then with a minute to go or 2 minutes to go, he kicked it out to Jeff Green on the wing when he had he was being double covered and there was guys contesting him. But I was like, even if he's being contested at the rim, that's a better shot than Jeff Green taking an open 3 at this point, just because of the game LeBron's having. And I was like, he needs to just take that shot. And then the next possession, literally the same thing happened, and he just took the shot and made it. And so, I mean, I think that was the play where he went up and got the and one on, it was Curry and I don't remember who else. Maybe it was Jordan Bell. I can't remember. Or Looney.
I think it was Draymond. Looney. Kevin Looney.
It was Looney.
Kevon Looney. But he is incredible. That's all I have to say. I think it's probably going to be Steph, though. I think this is Steph's time. He's balling. Game 1 showed that LeBron is far and away. It's not even a competition that he's the best player in the league anymore.
No, that's true.
There's literally no argument you can make that Kevin Durant is better than LeBron James.
No, there's nothing you can say.
There's nothing.
You can argue who the second best player in the league is because
there's
Kevin
no
Durant
argument who number 1 is for the last 10 to 12 years. It's LeBron.
I saw somebody say since 2003 LeBron's been the best in the league, and I don't agree with that because I think Kobe was probably somewhere from when Shaq started to fade off. He kind of I
think Kobe had probably 2 years in there. Those 2 years where he should have won the MVP over Steve Nash, I'd probably give him the best because Steve Nash should have definitely not won those MVPs.
Yeah. Well, Steve Nash was pretty good.
He was, but it was an MVP.
I mean, if Harden wins this year, it'll be essentially the same as Steve Nash winning.
I think since he went to the finals in 2007, he's been the best player in the league.
I would agree with that. I would say probably even maybe 2007 is probably
2003 is a little early. That's when he came in as a rookie. He was definitely not the best player in the league.
He wasn't. Did you see that video of his teammates when the Cavs announced as having the first pick and his teammates coming on and saying, "Oh, what do you think about LeBron?" They hadn't had the draft yet, and they're like, "Oh, LeBron could probably help a team a little bit, but he's not going to come in here and be our best player. He'll probably have to sit the bench the first half of the year." And all of these no-name guys were they weren't trashing him, but they obviously didn't really like the hype, and so they're like, "Yeah, he's going to have to fight for minutes. I mean, I'm sure he can add something, but he'll have to work on his game and develop before he can really be an impact player in the league." I thought it was hilarious because LeBron. I mean, even in high school, LeBron was 6'8", and he was dunking on everybody.
He's just he's the best.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was incredible.
All right, let's do something a little different here. We're gonna build our own little trade machine, like the ESPN trade machine. So not that in depth though. I don't. We're gonna propose trades to each other as if we were the GM of the other team.
I just have one trade for you, and I want you to talk about it.
You just have one trade for me.
Because I feel like this is the most important one.
All right, call me up.
So I am in charge of San Antonio.
Okay.
And you're in charge of Philadelphia. Made it easy on you, so this way you obviously.
Am I Brian Colangelo though? Or Eric
let's
Jr.?
Say they fire Brian.
Eric
no,
Jr.?
Let's say they fire Brian Colangelo and they hired you. They called you up on the phone, all right? And so
I'd be
it's
a better
actually
GM
you.
than Brian.
Probably.
I don't have any burner accounts, so I think I'm already a leg up.
Technically, our podcast is a burner account, isn't it? So
I mean, we're pretty open that we run it though. My wife doesn't have any burner accounts.
Are you sure though? Because that's what Brian said.
Pretty sure. I don't even know if she knows how to use Twitter at this point.
Neither did Brian's wife, and that's why they got caught.
That's true.
All right, so here we go. So obviously, I'm coming to you. You said you wanted Kawhi Leonard, so I'll give you Kawhi Leonard, and then I'll give you one cap filler, low level rotation player. I don't really care who it is at this point, and I want from you, in order of importance to the trade, the first round pick for this year.
Okay.
Markelle Fultz.
Okay.
Dario Saric. Robert
Okay.
Covington.
I would send it back to you by taking out Dario Saric and throwing in probably our first round pick next year, or the Kings, or no, our first round pick protected like top 10, because we're probably gonna be outside that anyways.
See, I don't want a top 10 protected pick. I mean, your pick isn't going to be that valuable anyway. You're just making it less valuable by protecting it.
I mean,
If you want a number one, like overall protected, that's one thing. But other than that, like, I'm not going to.
I mean, that's what I'm going to throw back at you. I think I'd take out Rocco. I don't know if you guys want Robert Covington. I don't know if the Spurs actually want Robert Covington that bad.
My thinking is this. My reasoning for putting Sarge and Covington in there is this. You're getting Kawhi Leonard, who is a bona fide superstar, top 5 player in the league when he's healthy. And you're not giving me back really any solid value. Like, if we're going to do the 5-star value 2K trade thing, Kawhi Leonard's, I would say 4.5 stars, maybe 4. I'll say Kawhi Leonard's 4 stars because of his injury this year. Your first round pick this year is 3.5 stars. Okay. Markelle Fultz is probably, with his injuries and stuff, is probably 1.5. 2 stars maybe. Saric is probably 2.5 stars, and Covington's probably 2.5 stars. So the total value that I'm getting back, if you add it together, is more, but I'm not getting anything that's going to produce what Kawhi Leonard produces. Obviously, I can't combine Fultz, Saric, and Covington into one player.
I also know that Kawhi doesn't want to play for the Spurs anymore.
That's fair, but I still have him under contract for a year.
You do. But you could either have nothing.
Okay.
Or you could take...
I mean, in my opinion, Kawhi Leonard isn't nothing.
But he's not going to play. I think he is given into his uncle, who is basically LeVar Ball without the notoriety, and he's not going to play for the Spurs ever again.
Well, I mean, you're taking that chance, but I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, I've offered, as the general manager of the Spurs, I've offered him a max extension, and he said he'd take it if we can't find a deal. So
that is true, but I also have LeBron waiting in the wings, so I've already called him up.
Yeah, you have a good chance of getting him, but so do we. So
I don't know. I don't know if I'd give up 3 possible starters.
I mean, Fultz is not
for
going
a
to start
guy
on your team.
He is next year, guaranteed. About halfway through the season, he'll start starting, unless LeBron comes. Then there's really no room.
So Fultz, Sarge, and Covington are going to start. So you have Simmons, and that's your starting 5.
Yeah,
I feel like it could be better. I'm not like I'm just saying.
I mean, if you add LeBron, obviously,
if you add Kawhi Leonard, your team is even with Kawhi, Ben, and Joel Embiid. That starting 5, that's 3 is better than any 5 with those like.
I don't know. I just don't want to mortgage the future when I could already get the best player in the league and not have a guy who has attitude problems, who has injury problems, he has just as many injury problems as Fultz does.
I don't know if he has just as many injury problems.
I mean, he has fake injury problems just like Fultz does. So.
I mean, you're banking on the fact that Fultz develops into...
I'm more banking on the fact that I can get LeBron without giving up Fultz and a first-round pick. Because the first-round pick, what was Kawhi taken at 11? 10 or 11? He's pretty in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, that Mikal Bridges or Miles Bridges or whoever you can take at 10 could be the next. So I don't know if I'm mortgaging the future for a guy who has a bad attitude and basically forced his way out of San Antonio, who has the best coach in the last 30 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think... who helped him win 2 championships. Right.
I don't know.
No, I mean, I understand that. I just... I don't see you guys being able to get Kawhi without giving up something along those lines. Now, maybe it won't have to be Sarge and Covington, but I don't think that... I mean, Pop isn't dumb, so...
I don't think they'd ask for Covington. I mean, we would probably offer Covington.
Covington is a Spurs guy. So is Sarge. Sarge and Covington are Spurs prototype players. Like, they are, like, if Greg Popovich had a mold where he could, like, clone players and he could be, the emperor and, he could have his little stormtroopers running around, those two would be the generals of his army because they're perfect. They fit his mold perfectly. So
I don't know. I think you can get Kawhi in a couple years anyways. So,
as it goes to the Lakers.
or I could wait a year and try to get Klay Thompson and still have LeBron. So
Would you, that was actually going to be my.
I wouldn't trade for either one. I don't know if I'd trade for either one of them at this point.
If the Warrior
unless
Warriors
Kawhi told me he was going to sign a 5-year max deal.
Well, obviously you're not trading any of that unless you can get it. But if you can get the Warriors to give up Klay Thompson for that deal, would you?
Yes, I would rather have Klay Thompson. If I'm going to sign LeBron, I'd rather have Klay Thompson, who's a better shooter. Yeah, Kawhi is a great shooter, a great defender. Klay Thompson is arguably, I mean, he's the second. If Kawhi Leonard, I guess he's technically a small forward, but I mean, he's kind of a shooting guard. He's kind of the same mold as Klay Thompson, but Klay Thompson's a better shooter and probably the second best defender at that position, behind Kawhi. So I'd go for Klay Thompson.
My only thinking with that is you're helping out the team that's far and away the best in basketball. You're giving them 4 young, prospects. You're giving them a top 10 pick this year, which, I mean, they don't need a top 10 pick this year, but they're going to be able to fill a need with that. That's going to be their highest draft pick.
That would hinder them at this point. It would give us a better chance to win right now.
But I still think the Warriors win with Steph.
There's no
KD,
way.
and
If they
Draymond.
sign LeBron and trade for Klay Thompson with Ben Simmons and Embiid, that team would destroy the Warriors without Klay Thompson.
I don't think you're destroying the Warriors with that
I
team.
think we'd destroy them. Who's going to guard? Who's going to guard anybody? Who's Steph Curry going to guard? Ben Simmons or Klay Thompson?
Who's your point guard?
Ben Simmons.
I mean, who's your actual point guard?
Ben Simmons.
So Ben Simmons is starting a point guard?
Yeah.
I want to see Ben Simmons guard Steph Curry.
He doesn't have to you don't have to guard Steph Curry. You just have to hinder Steph Curry from scoring 1,000,000 points.
Okay, well, I mean,
but Klay Thompson can guard Steph Curry.
Okay, well, what I would say is that you don't really have to guard Ben Simmons. You just have the team defense, pack it in.
But who's gonna? That team
You
would
don't
be
have that much shooting.
That team
so-
would. We say the Warriors now are the best team ever. That team would be arguably one of the best teams of all time.
I don't know about that. I don't know. It'd be interesting. I don't think they'd be the best team of all time. I think
that starting 4, those 4 would be better overall than the 4 the Warriors have right now. Because I would take Embiid over Draymond Green.
okay.
I would take LeBron over KD.
Mm-hmm.
I would take. I mean, they don't have 4, so I don't know who their 4th would be. But I would take Ben Simmons and Klay Thompson over Steph Curry.
Well, I mean, we're talking about the 4 now to the 4 you have. So
Yeah.
Klay Thompson's a
Klay
wash.
Thompson is a wash, and I take Steph Curry obviously over Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
So 2-1-1.
I think when you say you take Embiid over Draymond, I think you're right. But I think Draymond will shut down Embiid. Maybe not shut down, lock down 0 points, but he will guard him. We've seen already. Embiid gets frustrated. You can get in his head. Draymond Green is the best person in the league at getting in people's heads. And you cannot get in Draymond's head. Draymond will do stupid things, but Draymond is the biggest agitator. He is going to make the Hall of Fame for being a agitator who wins championships. He does the grimy things.
That's not the kind of guy that beats Embiid, though. The kind of guy that beats Embiid is a fundamental physical guy like Al Horford. Draymond Green, as great at defense he is, he's not really fundamental. He's
a really good passer. He is,
but he's not on defense. He's not the type of player like a guy like DeMarcus Cousins, Al Horford, Hassan Whiteside when he actually was good at basketball.
Embiid takes advantage of big guys who can't rebound a lot because a lot of the big guys in the league now are outside big guys and they don't rebound well. And Embiid dominates on the boards. He would not dominate on the boards against Draymond Green. I think he would probably do well enough, but I think it'd be kind of a wash. And
but again, when you have Draymond guarding Embiid instead of LeBron, KD can't handle LeBron either.
KD guards LeBron. KD can guard LeBron. He has guarded
KD held LeBron to what, 35, 9, and 10 last year?
And what did LeBron hold KD to? He did the same thing.
Exactly.
So, I'm saying LeBron's better than KD, but I mean, KD is pretty dang good himself. I don't think you guys would kill them as much as you
I don't think that trade would help the Warriors as much as you think. I mean, unless Markelle Fultz turned out to be.
I think you're giving them a lot for the future. A lot. Sarge and Covington, I mean...
but we're also, if Klay Thompson decides to sign a max contract, we have that 4 for the next 3 years at least with LeBron because he's going to sign a 3-year contract.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't... See, I still, as good as LeBron is, I still don't know how much longer he can possibly physically go. Eventually, he is going to break down.
Well, until I see any sign of breaking down, I'm going to keep signing that guy.
We'll see. We'll see next year what happens.
He has shown no cracks in the armor.
I think next year he takes it easier, or he has an injury of some sort. Maybe not like a serious one, but something that he misses
if he goes
significant amount of
year,
games, like a 20 or 15 to 20 minutes,
because he's not going to play 38 or 42 minutes a game, because he's going to have Embiid, he's going to have Ben Simmons, so he doesn't have the pressure he has right now, because he has absolutely nothing on his team. So adding anyone to that team, or adding him to any other team in the league, would be better than what he's got now. All right, I got a trade for you.
Okay.
This is kind of out of left field.
Is it a baseball trade?
No.
Oh.
I'm Golden State. You're New Orleans.
Okay.
I want Anthony Davis. I'm going to give you Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and a first-round pick. First-round pick is going to be low, so it's kind of just a throw in there. Do you take the 1 for 2, basically?
I come back and counter and say, just give me Kevin Durant, and I'll give you Anthony Davis straight up.
I don't know if I do that.
I don't want, if I'm giving up Anthony Davis, I don't want.
But if you're New Orleans, you have DeMarcus Cousins, who is arguably the second best, right behind Anthony Davis. Mm-hmm. And you add Klay Thompson, and you add Draymond Green. Draymond Green and DeMarcus Cousins would be
technicals. Your team would shoot 5 technicals a game.
That's true, but they would be great defensively.
Yeah, I mean,
and you add Klay Thompson with Drew Holiday, who's already a great defender, and whoever else you want at the small forward spot.
Yeah, I don't think I want to do that. I think I would rather have. I think I'd rather have Steph. First off,
I don't think they would ever trade Steph. That's the problem.
Yeah,
that's not even I would just hang up the phone if you guys said Steph.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't want Steph and Draymond. I think that'd be too much. But I would want Steph, and I'll give you Drew Holiday as somebody who can play, not like but somebody who can play point guard for you while you try and find another one or hold over that position. So I'll give you Drew Holiday, and I'll give you Anthony Davis. I want Steph. Yeah, I don't think I would do that for anything other than KD. As now that I'm thinking about it, because even with Steph, I would have to get Klay Thompson or Draymond Green back, and you're not going to be able to do that. The only thing I would do it for is KD, and I think that could happen because KD,
they trade KD.
KD isn't loved in Golden State.
He's not, but he's better than Anthony Davis.
He arguably, when both are healthy, that's not 100%
he's
accepted.
I mean, he's in the argument for second best player. Anthony Davis is not at this point.
I would say Anthony Davis, when he's healthy, is. Anthony Davis is considered by most to be the second best player in the. Well, I would say if Anthony Davis can be healthy,
he has to win a playoff series or more than one.
He almost beat Golden State by himself.
He didn't almost beat Golden State.
Well,
they lost 5-1.
4 games where
they weren't any. None of them were close except for the one they won.
No, the first one where they went to overtime and they lost. And I'm pretty sure there was a couple other ones in there. He didn't almost beat Golden State, but he proved that he can carry a team. He wouldn't have to do that in Golden State. Has KD ever done anything without Golden State? I mean, they never won. I mean, they went to the finals.
So would you take Draymond Green, first round pick? I don't want to go, and Klay Thompson for DeMarcus Cousins.
I'd be more
just Green and
inclined
Thompson for DeMarcus.
I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I probably would want Looney or Bell back as well.
We can have Looney. Looney's trash.
I mean, he's a good scrapper. Just because I'm losing a scrapper in DeMarcus Cousins.
I mean, you're getting Draymond Green, who is the definition of a scrapper.
That's true. No, that's fair.
And I think Draymond Green will work a lot better with Anthony Davis than DeMarcus Cousins.
I agree with that because they can run that pick and roll.
I think it would make both teams. I think it would put both teams above the Rockets by far.
I don't know how Boogie would fit in Golden State. You have to be a certain breed.
But he can shoot. He shoots better than Draymond Green. He's bigger than Draymond Green. He has that same attitude to get in people's heads.
Draymond Green,
he's basically a better version.
As much as people hate on him, Draymond Green is one of the most selfless players in the NBA. Draymond Green will do anything it takes to win. That's why people hate him so much, because he doesn't care about his stats. He shoots when he's wide open because he knows it's best for the team. But you don't see Draymond Green forcing up bad shots. You see Draymond Green getting like hard work, like getting dirty on the boards, trying to make the plays for his team to win. I don't see Boogie Cousins doing the same stuff. And I think they would lose an element there that would be tough to regain in another player. Because I think, okay, so now you're talking about having
I think
three players that need the ball.
The talent
all the
and
time.
potential of DeMarcus Cousins is so much higher than that of Draymond Green.
I agree with you.
I think you do that in a heartbeat. Because Klay Thompson's probably going to leave anyways.
Yeah.
So you lose a guy you're already losing. You give up a lesser version of the guy you're getting. Yeah. But I think it helps both teams. And
going back to the Anthony Davis one, if you have Anthony Davis, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry, all of those guys need the ball. Well, I don't think Steph Curry and Kevin Durant are going to be happy scoring 18 points a game.
But that's what they say. That's what they say about everyone. That's what they said about Chris Paul and James Harden.
Because there's two.
And that works
there's two.
Great.
Yeah, but now
that's what they said when Kevin Durant came. Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry all need the ball in their hands.
Klay Thompson doesn't need the ball in his hands. He needs it for 2 seconds.
He's a spot-up shooter. He still needs the ball.
But he doesn't do anything.
I think the Warriors have gotten to the point where they don't care who's scoring the points. Yeah, but they just want the points to be scored.
But Anthony Davis isn't on the Warriors.
Because Steph Curry last year...
He's not at that point.
Steph Curry took a step back last year and let Kevin Durant run the Warriors in the finals.
He did.
And he was fine with it. Mm-hmm. Klay Thompson has taken a backseat to Steph Curry his entire career. So I think all those guys, and they can teach. I think DeMarcus Cousins would want to win more than. He's played on two pretty bad teams.
I think you have a better chance with Anthony Davis than you do DeMarcus Cousins doing that. But that's an interesting trade. But I don't think either team would do that. I don't. Trading superstars is hard.
All right, I got 2 trades that are basically the same trade.
Okay.
I'm Cleveland.
Hey, Cleveland.
You're Portland and New Orleans. Okay.
I'm Portland and New Orleans. Is this a 3-team trade? Or
no, it's 2 separate trades. Okay. But all right, if you're Portland, I want Damian Lillard. I'm going to give you the 8th pick, Kevin Love, a future first-round pick, and Cedi Osman for Dame.
No.
No,
not gonna happen. Sorry. I don't. No, I think.
What has Damian Lillard done for you?
He is my franchise. He's the face of the franchise. I do it for CJ McCollum.
That's too much for CJ.
I would do the 8th round, the 8th overall pick, and cap filler, whatever you needed to get it done. Probably another player, but I don't think I would do that for if I was Portland. Because Kevin Love, what is he going to do for me at this point in his career? He's not adding anything to my team. He's not making my team better. And Portland finished 3rd in the West this year. That signifies that they're rebuilding.
It's really up to Portland who they think is going to... Because they got to get rid of CJ McCollum or Dame Lillard. And you can get a lot more for Dame. Because they're in the West, they're in a rebuilding stage. Because they're not... They're not going to compete.
They've said already they're not, though.
But they can say all they want. But at this point...
They finished 3rd in the West this year.
They finished 3rd and got swept in the first round.
They finished 3rd.
They finished 3rd and got swept in the first round.
So
by an arguably worse team in New Orleans.
I still don't think they're ready to sell the farm.
They should be. All right, so you're New Orleans. Mm-hmm. Same trade for DeMarcus Cousins.
If I'm not going to do that for Dame Lillard, I'm not going to do it for DeMarcus Cousins.
See, if I'm New Orleans, I would do that because Kevin Love would work 100 times better with Anthony Davis than DeMarcus Cousins does because he's a better version of Mirotic, and they played better with Mirotic than they did with DeMarcus Cousins.
Okay.
And you get the 8th pick where you can get a really good guard in Trae Young or Colin Sexton to go with Drew Holiday because Rajon Rondo is old, and they need a scoring guard.
Okay.
And you get, a guy like Cedi Osman who can come off the bench who has some potential.
I feel like New Orleans is a team filled with Cedi Osmans right now. Like that's everybody else on their team.
They don't have anyone on their team with potential. I can't name you one player off their bench.
Don't they have Buddy Hield?
No, he's in Sacramento. They had Buddy. That's who they got DeMarcus Cousins with. I think they do that.
I don't know.
I think they already think they're going to lose DeMarcus Cousins.
Yeah, I do.
I think they do it for the 8th round pick and Kevin Love because Kevin Love is he's a downgrade, but that in the 8th pick,
he's an old downgrade. It's not even like
he's what 2 years older than.
I'm pretty sure
he's the same age as Russell Westbrook. How old is Russell Westbrook?
Okay,
they came out in the same year.
28, 29.
Yeah. So
okay.
DeMarcus Cousins 26, so 2 years.
Yeah.
But he is better than Mirotic, who they played the last half of the season with and went to the playoffs and swept Dame Lillard.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they do it.
I don't know. It'd be interesting. I don't know. I think they can. One of the reasons that I would say no is because I think they can get more. I think somebody will come in with a better offer for both of those players. And I think Cleveland's best chance at a point guard is Kemba Walker, because it's a bad team that needs to rebuild. Somebody just needs to convince Michael Jordan.
Would you rather have Kemba or John Wall if you're LeBron?
It's a good question.
They're very similar players.
That's tough. I'm biased because of Kentucky. So,
but I mean,
I think
if you look at their careers, they've been very similar. They've both been on pretty bad teams.
Well, I think each of them has their own benefits. I think Kemba Walker's a better shooter than John Wall.
He's a better scorer all around,
Which
I think.
right now in the NBA, you need somebody that can shoot. Why are you ripping the head off of my Sergio Aguero Lego?
Because I hate Sergio Aguero.
It's kind of disturbing.
I'm actually just going to put it right here
stuck
on the
it in
field.
the
He's
field.
actually dead.
Okay, that's really disturbing. His leg just fell off.
too.
What is going on?
I don't know.
You're just breaking my stuff. But anyway, I think that Kemba Walker's a better scorer. I think John Wall is a bigger guard, which lends to more durability. He's faster than Kemba Walker. I think John Wall might be the fastest player in the NBA.
It's close.
I
don't know. Not after the injury, probably not. But
Yeah.
before the injury, he was.
He's crazy athletic. He's not Russell Westbrook athletic, but he's probably the second most athletic guard in the league behind Russell Westbrook. So, I don't know. I think if I'm LeBron, knowing how he plays, I think I take Kemba. Because Kemba can shoot. He's more similar to Kyrie than John Wall is. And as good as John Wall can be, as much as he brings to the table as a point guard that LeBron needs, I don't think they would necessarily. I think John Wall has too much Russell Westbrook in him, whereas I think Kemba Walker is more of a Kyrie type point guard. So I think Kemba's the way to go for that one. Now, if you can't get Kemba, but you can get John Wall, I think you get John Wall. I don't think they're trading John Wall. No, I agree. I would agree.
All right. So you're the GM of one of your teams. You get to decide. You have 2 moves.
Am I allowed to go back in time to do these moves? Because
No.
when I was thinking about it
with current rosters,
Okay.
injuries from today, you get hired as the Mets, Knicks, Dolphins, whatever. You're the GM of that team. You have 2 moves to make them a championship contender. Which team?
two
is
realistic moves, or
Which team is 2 moves away?
none of my teams are 2 moves away. That's the tough part.
All right, let's go. Beginning of the
I
season,
can go
no
in
injuries.
past. Well, I was gonna say I can go in the past, like recent past, and say if I'm the Mets GM, one move that I would make, knowing the future. I mean, at the time I didn't want to do this, but if I could see into the future and nobody else could, I would trade Matt Harvey for Mookie Betts in a heartbeat. I mean, that was only 2 or 3 years ago they were talking about doing that.
Yeah, but I mean, at the beginning of the season, if your entire Mets team wouldn't have gotten hurt.
Beginning of the season, if I knew.
Beginning of the season, you have 2 moves with the Mets. I mean, they can be slightly unrealistic.
I think
but
one of the things, if I was the Mets, one of the things I would have done in the offseason is I would have signed Eric Hosmer. They didn't really make a push for him. I know Padres paid him a lot of money, but we don't have a first baseman. Adrian Gonzalez is playing first base, and he doesn't really do too much. As much as I like Jay Bruce, I probably would not have signed him. I probably would have gone after Lorenzo Cain instead, because we need a center fielder, a true center fielder, and with Conforto playing, Conforto is not a true center fielder. He's played decently there, but he's more of a right fielder, left fielder. Same with Cespedes. We already have Cespedes locked up, so there's really nothing that I could do there. And there really weren't too many free agent pitchers that like blew you away. I guess you could say, everybody could say, Ronald Acuna, from the guy that the Braves signed, the international kid. But even, like everybody could say that he's, they wish they would have got him. I don't know. That's a tough one when your teams aren't really that close. The Knicks, I went back and
if you'd have got, let's say Shohei Ohtani didn't like LA.
He wouldn't have.
He changes.
No, he wouldn't have been the same player. He would have. It's a different market. There would have been too much pressure on him in New York. There's no pressure in Los Angeles at all for baseball.
And there's no
players.
pressure when you're playing for the Angels.
Yeah,
There's pressure
exactly.
in LA if you're a Dodger.
Yeah.
But
So I mean, imagine he came to New York. He would have been hyped up. Remember what
I
happened?
mean, just like that, he's not going to the Yankees. If he would have gone to the Yankees, I think he would have. But he's going to the Mets.
I know, but there's just as much hype and like media coverage. Maybe not just as much, but there is enough
But it's a whole different ballgame when you're when you're playing for the Mets.
You think that,
The
but
amount of pressure that being a Yankee, just putting on those pinstripes, that
no,
can break
I
a
understand.
player.
Yeah, I understand, but it's still New York.
Yeah.
And it's not just the Yankees and Mets, it's the media coverage and the constant bombarding of questions. You go to Milwaukee, you go to the Angels, and in your locker room after the game there's maybe 1 or 2 reporters. You're in New York, there's 10, 15 reporters in your locker room after every single game. It's like the playoffs. And that gets to a lot of players, and I don't think Ohtani would have fit with us. And so he might have done better with the Yankees because of the American League, but I don't think a National League team wanted to sign him anyway because he wanted to be able to play the field, and they weren't going to risk him in the field with his pitching potential. So I think I don't know, for the Knicks, going over there, I think again going back in time, probably would have gone to the beginning of the year, and I would have traded Porzingis to the Celtics for all those things that they were offering. I think they weren't. I think they said no to the trade, but that's what I would have done. As much as I love Porzingis, you can't win with one player. You kind of only can get so far. And Celtics, the rumors were like 3 draft picks, and like Jaylen Brown or something or other like that. And I would have taken 2 draft picks and Jaylen Brown, or 2 draft picks and one of their young stars. It's just, right now, what moves can the Knicks make? There are none. There's nothing that they can do right now.
You can sign LeBron.
The Knicks can't. There's no chance for. You said realistic. There's no chance the Knicks have to sign LeBron.
I mean, he can go to New York. He's the king. He's the king of Madison Square Garden.
So sign LeBron and Paul George and pray that everything works out.
I don't know if you get both. That's not realistic. Sign both of them, but
I don't know. I think it's going to be tough. I guess for the Knicks, if we're talking right now, my number 1 move is Michael Porter Jr. slips in the draft, and the Knicks snap him up at 9 or 8, I think, somehow. And then he ends up blossoming into a superstar. Him and Porzingis play great together. And then Ntilikina and Trey Burke end up being one of the best 1-2 punch, CJ McCollum and Dame Lillard-esque. And there you go. That's what I hope for. Or maybe the Cavs call up and say, "Hey, we really like Trey Burke. We'll give you our first round pick for Trey Burke." And I'll be like, "Oh, okay,
that'd
cool.
be a terrible trade."
Hey, realistic." But yeah, it's tough right now.
Yeah, it's a little easier for my teams, I think.
Yeah, because your team just won a championship.
That's true. I wasn't going to go with the Eagles. I think they made their moves. I'm going to go. Sixers are too easy. Oh yeah, sign LeBron. That's you're a championship contender no matter what.
Okay, so let's say you can't get LeBron. Let's say because there's too many
2 moves without LeBron.
Yeah.
You sign Paul George and trade for one of the 2 guards that are kind of on the outs, either Bradley Beal, CJ McCollum. I think that makes you a championship contender in the East. You get Paul George and that guy, one of those guys.
I think you just play
CJ
Paul George
McCollum.
at shooting guard and you get another big guy.
I don't know. I don't want to run my whole offense through Paul George. I still want to run it through Embiid.
Yeah, but Paul George works best as a secondary option. We saw that.
But he doesn't want to be a secondary option. That's why I'm hesitant on signing Paul George, because he still wants to be that first guy.
Yeah.
And he has to realize he's not the first guy.
True story.
He's the second guy.
Yeah. That was a good question. That's a tough one because I don't know. There's 2 moves. I could go on 2K and make 2 trades that are unrealistic and, finagle my way by adding 2nd round picks and stuff that teams would never trade for. But I don't know. It's tough. It's tough being a New York fan, man. Life is hard.
Oh yeah, life's so hard. Life's tough. You just picked the wrong side of New York.
This is true.
You picked the bad
You know what?
side.
How about this? I'll do 2 realistic moves for the Islanders. And we don't talk about hockey enough. I think we should. I think we should make this the finals, Stanley Cup finals review beginning right now. But first, I'm going to say
is going to win his first championship.
The first move that the
Write it
Islanders
down.
have to make is sign John Tavares to a lifetime contract, giving him 51% ownership of our hockey club. Because if he walks away, we are never going to win another game. Okay? And the second move we have to make is we have to get a top tier number 1 goaltender. Marc-Andre Fleury is on Vegas right now. I don't believe he is locked up for very long.
I don't think they're gonna let him go though.
I don't care. He is going to be a free agent. I think he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. If he's not going to be a free agent, you have to draft one. You have to that is the second move they have to make. I don't care who it is. If it's Bobrovsky, Pecorine, if it's Carey Price, they need to get a number one goaltender. And that is,
I think every team needs a number one.
well, but there's a
goaltender.
lot. There's probably in excess of 10 out there, and we haven't had one for a decade. We haven't had one through Tavares' entire career, and I think this is going to be a third move.
Flyers haven't had one for about 60 years. So
Well, you guys went to the Stanley Cup with what's his name?
Michael Leighton.
Leighton, that's right. So I don't know. But the other move that I was going to say the Islanders have to make is they have to fire Garth Snow. I'm sick and tired of him. He needs to be gone. He's been in there for too long, hasn't done anything, and he's going to cost us John Tavares, it looks like. So, yeah.
See, if I had 2 moves for the Flyers, I think I would trade Claude Giroux.
Would you?
Yeah. He's getting up there. He's not playoff. He plays like, he had the third most points league. He plays like Sidney Crosby and Ovechkin in the regular season and then completely disappears in the playoffs every year. He's still worth a lot, so you can get several picks. And we kind of got to go young. I think we almost not blow up the team, but go young. Because we have some high draft picks from the last couple of years. Use that, and like you said, we need to find a goalie because the last good goalie had Bob the goalie, Serge Bobrovsky. We traded him to Columbus for trash, and now he's
Bobrovsky
amazing.
was terrible.
But now he's
for you.
amazing.
He was so bad for you, it was comical. That's why Leighton brought you to the...
But he wasn't that. But we traded. He was young, and we traded him for a veteran because we thought we could win now, and we were not anywhere close to winning now. Mm-hmm. And now he's
probably
top 5 goalie in the league for Columbus.
Yep.
But the NHL Finals,
It's been exciting.
arguably more exciting than the NBA playoffs.
I mean, it's hard to follow NHL down here. I love hockey. It's hard to follow it down here. There's not enough people that do. But these playoffs,
It's the most exciting playoffs.
Yeah, they're always so exciting.
From the announcers down to just getting, it's like football and basketball all in one. It's just,
It's great. And the Cup Finals, I mean, I'm not rooting for Vegas. I probably am the one person in America that is rooting against them. I do not want to see them win. That's not fair.
I want to see Ovechkin win because I hate Sidney Crosby, and I want Ovechkin to be better than Sidney Crosby.
I don't like either of them. They're both ironic.
I love Ovechkin.
But
And I hate the Capitals, but I love
Ovechkin has better ESPN commercials. Like that one where
I love that he won't fix his teeth. I love that.
No hockey player.
He's almost out of them. But you see Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby get all of his teeth, and they're perfect.
That's true. The dentists in Russia
So that man's like
aren't as good.
Ronaldo. He's like Ronaldo. He can't be looking, but Ovechkin's just like, nah, I'm going to have no teeth at all.
Oh, man. But I don't know. I'm rooting for the Caps. They're up 2-1. So that's...
Do you see if Vegas wins? Like the Golden Knights win? Like the city of Vegas is going to lose like millions and millions of dollars.
I guess that's the problem with being the home of gambling.
Because like so many people in Vegas just put random bets on the Vegas Knights because their first year and they're going to lose like... So if Vegas wins, Vegas actually loses.
That's actually pretty funny.
Like there's an interview with someone who works in Vegas, but he was like, yeah, if the Golden Knights win, I'm probably going to lose my job. And the interviewer was like, ha 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 ha. The guy was like, ha ha. Like he was laughing, but you could tell he was serious. He's probably going to get fired if they win the Stanley Cup Finals. But I love it.
Oh, that's great. And the Caps, I mean, they're actually, okay, when Holtby made that huge error, I don't know if you were watching the game yesterday, when he made that huge error and backhanded it right to the forward for the Golden Knights, and I thought it was game over. I thought the Knights were going to win because the Capitals always seem to choke on moments like that. But
I knew it was their year. They beat the Penguins.
That's true. They did overcome that.
They beat Sydney. That's like the Raptors. If they would have beat Cleveland, I'd have said, oh, they're probably going to win. Because that's like their thing. They got to get over the hump.
I think you would have been the only person to say that. Have you seen?
Hey, the Raptors played well against the West this year.
Yeah. We'll see. Playoffs are different. But I mean, they're not in.
I would probably give the Raptors a better chance against the Warriors than the Cavs from now on. But
and we're going to end up debating basketball.
Anyway,
again.
the NHL.
Yeah. Are they, do you think, you said you watched the game. Do you think Vegas is running out of steam a little bit? Because in earlier games in the playoffs that I had watched, their forecheck was super high energy. They always let in hits. They were always pressing in the defensive zone. And so, but game 3, they kind of looked lackadaisical. They looked a slower team.
I think your luck runs out against a team that's obviously better than you.
But they're not. I don't think they're luck. I don't think it's luck. They're the best team in hockey this year.
But I think they got slightly lucky because, I mean, they weren't the best team in hockey. They didn't have the best record. They weren't the best team.
They were the number 1 seed in the West, weren't they?
No, they just have a better record than the Capitals.
Oh, okay.
Neither team's the number 1 seed. And hockey usually doesn't, the number 1 seed doesn't usually go.
No, I know.
Because you win the President's Cup, it's automatically like you're not going to win the Stanley Cup.
I thought, for a long time, they had the best record in hockey this year. They were one of the best teams.
Because they started off like 20-0. Yeah. Like they won a billion games in a row. I don't know. I think they don't have a lot of top end talent. Fleury is.
I mean, they do have some young players.
They do, but their best players are, other teams.
Yeah.
Rejects and contract guys.
Of course, that was going to be the case.
And when you got a guy like Ovechkin, TJ Oshie, the Capitals are just so deep. Their fourth line is probably better than anything the Flyers put on the ice this year. So, I don't know. I think they're
Vegas'
not
fourth
luck,
line scored. They've scored 3 goals already this series? 4 goals?
I don't know. I just think the top end talent of the Washington Capitals is just, it's too much for.
Yeah.
I think they're better than any team they've played so far. The Golden Knights have played in the West so far.
Yeah. I don't want to reveal my lack of knowledge of current hockey happening, so I think we'll probably end it there. But okay, so I saw this funny bracket thing on the interwebs, and it was probably really old, but
I think it's from this year actually.
It was the most annoying sports figures, and they just cracked me up. And so obviously we have the whole Draymond thing. Nobody likes Draymond, I feel like, which I feel kind of bad because he does that on purpose. I think he takes a lot of the pressure off his team by doing that. Who is the most annoying person in sports? One person. If it's an athlete, if it's a color play-by-play TV guy, or if it's just a media reporter. Who is the most annoying person in sports?
Skip.
Come on, Skip.
Skip Bayless is one of the dumbest.
Is he the most annoying?
Most annoying.
Okay, there it is.
Sports analysts, reporters, whatever, in the world.
I had 6 people listed.
You had 6. I had
6 people
4.
listed. Because this is one of those things that just off the top of your head, and then after you go off the top of your head, I like to look at lists just in case I missed anybody. So I usually pick 1 or 2 people. And I instantly listed Draymond, even though he's annoying and he bothers the crap out of me when he's playing. Other times, like the interview he did where he laughed at the question or whatever, I didn't feel like he was being disrespectful. I thought it was just funny. I didn't think there was anything wrong with that. Because he didn't out and out disrespect JR. Right? They asked him, JR said that he knew the game was tied, and Draymond kind of had a look on his face like, oh, that's interesting. And it was just kind of funny, and it just made me laugh. I didn't think it was disrespectful. I didn't think it was annoying. So I crossed him off as the most annoying person. The next person I wrote, you'll be shocked about this, and people who follow us on Twitter will be shocked. It's Chris Webber. I cannot.
You don't like Chris Webber?
Stand him. He is the worst.
I feel like that's more of a recency
person.
Bias, though.
It is, but because the last 4, not even okay. So it started with that Kentucky game in the tournament, and every game I've watched with him since.
But I think
has been just terrible.
If he would have never done that Kentucky game, you wouldn't be that angry.
No, I'm probably not that angry, but all the other games he's been absolutely awful.
I don't know if he.
That Rockets Warrior series, he was absolutely dreadful. It was like I couldn't even watch. I had to watch with the sound off. I had it muted after a while. It was so bad. But I crossed him off my list too, because like you said, it's recency, and I think it's just me, probably. I don't think he's the most annoying person. I don't
even think he's my most annoying former NBA player that does. I hate Reggie Miller.
Oh, I see. I hate Reggie Miller too, but
I hate Reggie Miller.
Yeah.
Because every time he does a Sixers game, the only thing he talks about is how Joel Embiid doesn't practice, which is not true. And I just feel like these NBA guys don't do as much research as people like Doris Burke or like some of the other people who don't have like their NBA-ness to fall back on. Or like even like Jeff Van Gundy, like, yeah, he was a coach, but
Jeff Van Gundy does his research though.
He does his research, and like Mark Jackson does his research, but like Paul Pierce, Reggie Miller, Chris Webber,
at least Kevin Garnett doesn't pretend. Kevin Garnett doesn't talk about basketball.
Yeah, he didn't even care. He talks about clothes half the time. They seem like they're just banking on their knowledge of basketball in general instead of like actually looking into the teams that they're talking about. So that's why. But I don't think they're not my most annoying. They're just the dumbest.
Himself. He is really annoying, but I like that show. I like Undisputed.
He's just annoying because
he's not even the most annoying person.
And I know
though.
he's annoying on purpose, and that makes me even more angry because I hate him either way.
But the reason I couldn't put him as the most annoying person in sports is because he's not even the most annoying person on Undisputed. Shannon Sharp is so much more annoying. He doesn't know what he's talking about most of the time. They just put him on there because he's another black guy that he can debate with, like Stephen A. Smith, and it's just they do not have the same chemistry. And again, he's a former athlete who doesn't do his research a lot of times. Like I don't want to rip Shannon Sharp too much because he had a great football career, and when he talks about football things, he's extremely knowledgeable. But when he talks about basketball, you can basically see him
about LeBron.
reading from because you can see him reading from his script anytime he talks about anything else.
He just repeats what Nick Wright said on the show before.
Yeah. Get Up?
No,
it's not Get Up, right? What
It's
is it? First Things First.
First Things First.
Yeah.
Nick Wright just brings his notes over. Say, hey, take what you want.
He's actually just in his... Why don't they just use earpieces?
Why don't they just have Nick Wright on the
I don't
show?
know. They could do like the Mission Impossible, fake face thing.
Skip Bayless is just overly... Shannon Sharp is for LeBron, but he doesn't say ridiculous things most of the time.
That's true.
He's not even as bad as Nick Wright is. But, Skip Bayless literally said LeBron can't drink water.
Yeah, I don't...
That's his whole thing. His whole thing is he hates LeBron. That's his whole shtick.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Cowboys fan. I hate the Cowboys. He's the most
Can you
annoying.
guess the last three people on my list? Unless you looked at it, then we won't do that.
Colin Cowherd.
He is not one of the most
not
annoying
on your
people.
list.
No.
Nick Wright?
I will give you a hint. One person... They're all on different networks.
Okay.
Then Skip.
So ESPN. Is there an ESPN?
There's 2 ESPN people.
What sport are they?
Everything.
Give me one sport. I'll tell you.
It's everything. Basketball.
Basketball. Someone you hate in basketball. It's
No, this is the most annoying person.
most
not
annoying
including me.
person.
I'll give you 5 seconds. Guess one name.
I don't even know. I don't watch ESPN.
All right,
shows
Stephen A.
anymore.
Smith. But
You
I
hate Stephen A. Smith?
I crossed his name off. No, you said most annoying person
yeah.
in sports. He is.
I
think
he's-
most people would consider him one of the
Yeah.
most annoying people in sports. That's why I wrote it. But I crossed him off. The other person for ESPN is my most annoying person in sports. But I'm gonna skip. That person.
we talked about that one.
Yeah, the last person, Jim Rome. I
Jim Rome is
cannot
annoying.
listen to his radio anymore.
Jim Rome.
It's
I don't
so
even know if Jim
annoying.
Rome talks about sports. I don't know what he's talking about half the time. He just repeats the same thing
nothing.
over and over again.
And the winner for most annoying person in sports is Jamel Hill.
Jamel.
Number one most annoying person in sports, according to Mike. I can't. She doesn't. I just.
She just never said anything I
Exactly.
agreed with, I don't think.
I feel like she only says controversial things. Even if she doesn't agree
Even
with
if
it.
what's that show she does? His and Hers with
On
Michael
that show,
Black.
she
What's
wasn't.
his name?
Michael A. Smith.
Yeah, Michael Smith, something like that.
Michael W. Smith. Something
yeah.
like that. I don't know. I like him.
He's pretty liberal and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't agree with everything he says, but at least he says sports things.
Yeah.
She just everything she tweets is about Donald Trump. She just we get you don't like Donald Trump, all right? He says dumb stuff, whatever. Just move on with your life.
Yep.
Talk about something. You're getting paid to talk about sports.
Yeah.
That's why I'd follow you. I don't.
Yep. And then she didn't get fired by ESPN after she did all that stuff. And I think that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Then she lost her show, but then she got it back. It was
She was suspended.
yeah, I don't know. I can't. She's just annoying. And that's why she's on my list of the most annoying people in sports. And that's why she's number one on my list. You got anything else? Corn dog? Microwave? Nope, that's me. Corn dog, Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant. I'm done. I got nothing else.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening today. Go ahead and remind you, we are on The Grueling Truth now exclusively. So head over to their website. Check out the other stuff on their website. They got good podcasts, good news articles. Go on there, check it out. We're on iTunes like normal. We're on SoundCloud, Stitcher, but because we're on Grilling Truth now, we are going to be on a couple other platforms. Stay
YouTube.
tuned. Yeah, stay tuned for those though. We're not 100% finalized on all of them yet, but we are on YouTube. So if you want to not watch us but still listen to us, that's great. You feel free to do that. Again, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, all that normal stuff. Send us emails, lastonespodcast@gmail.com, at lastoneспod on Twitter. Get in contact with us so we can make fun of you on air and call you out. We should do a giveaway for the first person that sends in information.
Sends in any information.
Yes. Not information, but sends in stuff.
Just tweets at us in general.
We should have them on the podcast. Actually have them on. We can call them.
What if they're dumb?
So we make fun of them. Isn't that what all on-air people do?
I do have to throw a shout out to our one listener. It's my brother. It was his birthday yesterday. I told him I'd say happy birthday on the podcast. Yesterday, June 2nd. So this is going to air in like 3 days. So
Is his name Michael?
no,
Happy birthday, Michael Myers.
no, it's not
Dang it.
Michael.
I was really hoping.
But happy birthday to our one listener. Deuces.
All right. Well, I guess we were wrong about you. You can be on our team.
Thanks.